Welcome to the Co-Host Bros podcast, where we break down everything short-term rentals, entrepreneurship, and building a profitable hospitality business. Whether you're a host, investor, or property manager, we share real strategies, real insights, and real experiences to help you scale smarter and grow faster. Let's dive in.
What is going on, everybody? We are here with another episode of the Co-Host Bros podcast. My name is Matt Codd. I'm kicking it with my buddy Austin Spitz. And today we have Gil Chan, a short-term rental owner-operator, also owns Crafted Stays. With the click of a button, you'll have a direct booking site. I've seen somebody do it in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So welcome, Gil.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
What's going on, Austin?
Not a whole lot, man. Super excited to have you on, Gil. For our listeners, man, give us a rundown how you kind of got into the space and the short-term rental space, and yeah, man, let us know what you got going on.
Yeah, I've been in tech for probably the last 12 plus years now, and my last 6 years prior to starting Crafted Stays, I was in e-commerce. At the same time, my wife and I, we wanted to get into short-term rentals. We wanted to do some sort of investing. We had done index funds and long-term rentals, but that was pretty boring, as you probably expect. And we wanted something that would help us offset our taxes quite a bit. And that's when we found about the short-term rental loophole, and we got into it. And we bought our first property back in the beginning of the pandemic. And since then, we bought a couple more after that. But probably after the first year, we were pretty dependent on Airbnb. Probably 90+% of our revenues were coming from that one channel there. That's when we wanted to really buckle down and figure out how do we diversify our revenues. And that's when I had the idea of building out our own direct booking website. And at that time, I either had what the PMS offered, which are pretty vanilla websites, or if I wanted anything better, I would have to hire an agency and spend $5,000-$6,000 minimum, plus a couple $100 each month to host it. And that just made no sense to me, because back in my day job in e-commerce, if I wanted to start an e-commerce business, I wouldn't go hire a bunch of developers to build our website. I would go sign up for a Shopify account, add our products to it, pick from different templates, and by the middle of the afternoon, I would have like one of the highest converting websites out there. And I look back at our industry, we're like 15 years behind. So I coded the first version of Crafted Stays, shared it with some of my mastermind peers, and they convinced me to leave my job.
It's crazy. So it's more like, and I just seen my kid do it, and that's why I know. But it's like you guys have a lot of templates and stuff like that, and then basically you're just like, okay, well, what if you have like 100 properties? Can you do a different template for each property, or
yeah, you probably will do one template for kind of like the massive portfolio there, and then you can create different pages. You can talk about different markets. You can have different sections in there. You can host your own blog. So all the stuff that you see from like really big property management websites, you can probably build that on ours as well too. But you're not going to have to hire an agency. It's all kind of built into the platform.
So do you do
so
like
you just
do you do?
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so you have your own properties and it's crafted. Do you do property management as well, or no?
No, my wife and I, we bought our properties ourselves, and we wanted to kind of start direct bookings for our own property management, basically our own properties, but we don't co-host or manage for others. We do have a sizable amount of customers that when they get into co-hosting and they're trying to put themselves out there, when the website's one of the things that they need to get together. So we have a lot of co-hosters that maybe start off on the PMS websites and they're like, I can't build a new page to talk about my management services, and they'll start using us.
Okay, gotcha. So for people that manage, let's say people that manage multiple properties or own multiple properties, essentially they would come to you and you would help them build out their website and their direct booking for all their properties and stuff like that. Or like, give me like just a quick, like elevator pitch of like what exactly problem you solve.
Yeah, I mean, we basically help you build a really high converting direct booking site without having you hire a developer or an agency to build it out for you. So we basically created a platform to do so. So you can connect your PMS. So you connect with Hospitable, HostAway, Hostfully, Guesty for Pros, OwnerRez. If you're on any of those, we'll pull in all the property information. So it doesn't matter if you have 2 properties or 200 properties, you connect your PMS, we'll pull in all that information, download all the pictures, all the reviews, all the ratings, your availability, your rates, and then you choose from a variety of different templates and then customize it. So you can change out the taglines, the hero images, you can add new sections, you can remove it, you can create new pages, you can write blogs, all that stuff, all off the platform. And I think you said it earlier, your son did it in what, like two plus minutes?
Yeah, 2 something. He's
Yeah.
smart too.
Yeah, he was fast. He was nervous too, but he was fast.
It'll take y'all 5. No, I'm just kidding. He's smart. So you originally got into short-term rentals to try to get to tax savings. Is that why you started in short-term rentals? So you
Yeah.
didn't know that you were going to be a business owner. You weren't planning
No,
on.
sir. No, sir. I probably, like every other host that starts off, you think, oh, it's going to be like buying a short term. Sorry, it's like buying a long term rental, but I'm going to be able to cash flow a lot more. No, it's not like that. I ended up finding that we'll have to dump a bunch. Well, actually, I underwrote. We knew that we were going to dump a bunch of money in there, but just going through that entire process, learning how to do hospitality, learning all the different systems and tools, how to automate things. That took a little bit of learning. Like we basically started a business.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then you started a business from it, though. So
Yeah,
that's.
yeah.
But so why? What was stopping you from just creating your own website and moving on? Like, why did you try to create it for other people? Like, what? Like, you just saw the
Yeah.
gap, or like, what was your decision on that?
Yeah, so we first off started building our own website off of WordPress because all the other agencies were building WordPress sites, and probably took me 4 weeks to build it. I was like, this is way too hard. Like, why does it take me 4 weeks? And I'm in tech. Like, it shouldn't take me that hard to build a direct booking website. And it wasn't as connected as I wanted to be. Like, I would still have to copy and paste all my property information. I still have to use those stupid widgets. Like, it just felt very archaic. And I looked back at my day job and like I saw what Shopify was able to do for the e-commerce industry and how well they were able to let folks be independent. And I look back at our industry, it just didn't make sense. So I just basically coded the first version and shopped it around, and people were like, "You need to go all in on this." So I left my W-2 in tech and then just went all in and hired the best engineers I've had a chance to work with over the last 15 years, and it's been phenomenal.
So, when you were in tech, you were involved in like stuff like e-commerce and stuff like that. Is that what it was?
Yeah, so I've been at 6 other startups now prior to this one. The last 2 or 3 were all in the e-commerce industry. So I was in shipping, logistics, and e-commerce prior to starting this company, and Shopify was my biggest partner. So I flew out to Canada a few times to meet with the team there. And prior to even building Craft to Stays, we built 2 other e-commerce platforms in the past with my team. So we knew the inner workings. We knew just how easy it was for us to kind of get started. Like we went through all the hard learnings already. So building it for short-term rentals, it wasn't that hard for us.
So you want to make it e-commerce of the short-term rental space. Pretty
Basically,
much
yeah.
what it is, yeah.
We're
So,
basically making the Shopify for short-term rentals.
so I'll say, like, for instance, let's just say, like, okay, I use direct booking with Hospitable. How does that interfere with my Hospitable premium that I'm paying for, to where, they're the merchant of record and things like that? If I were to have crafted stays per se, you know.
Yeah, we work a little bit differently depending on which PMS you work with. For Hospitable specifically, we're pretty tightly knit with that team. We were their first direct booking kind of option outside of what they offered inside their platform. But with Hospitable, you connect your Hospitable account, we'll pull in all the property information, rates, availabilities, like I said earlier, and then the guests will kind of go through the entire booking flow on our platform, on our web pages. And when they're ready to pay for it, then we create basically a checkout from Hospitable and send them over to the Hospitable checkout page. That way, you
So
still get the
it'll skip the calendar and jump from use your calendar and then jump to their checkout.
just a checkout. So when we're like collecting the guest information, collecting their credit
Yeah.
cards, that's when we move them over to the Hospitable side. For some of the other PMSs, like Guesty, for instance, we host the checkout on our side. So we link up with their Stripe accounts, and we'll pass the tokenized Stripe information over to Guesty, so like for Guesty, you're able to, for instance, do 50% at booking and 50% 14 days prior to stay. All those rules still are very tightly integrated. So it really just depends on the capabilities of the PMS. But we try to make it pretty embedded.
How many PMSs are you guys supporting right now?
5.
5. And you opened this how long ago?
Almost 2 years. It's been
2 years.
Yeah, it's actually I started the first demo of this September of 23. So it's been pretty much 2 years now. It's been
So
crazy.
is it more like, I'm looking at the website, is it more like a DIY setup? Like the client, let's say I have 50 properties, I want to sign up with you. And do I go in and kind of do everything myself, or do you guys build it out for the client? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it depends. Most of our clients will just do self-serve. They'll do it themselves, and we have an onboarding flow. I still get a chance to sit down with every single one of our clients. So it doesn't matter if you have 1 door or 100 doors. I'll still kind of walk you through kind of the onboarding process. As a product person, it gives me a lot of knowledge of how to improve our product. So I'm constantly talking to our customers every single day. But some of our larger property managers, typically, if you're like over 20, over 30 properties, you probably want someone to do it for you. You probably at that point, you're already hiring a VA team. You already know to like leverage other people. And so for those folks, we'll offer them, if they want us to do white glove onboarding, we'll do it for them. And then for some of our hosts that have like a really strong like brand idea, we can even build custom sites for them as well too. So you're not taking a template off our platform, but you're leveraging our platform and we're building on top of it with a custom template.
So what do you think, like the majority of your clients, is it kind of split 50-50 for people that want to do it themselves versus people like me, for example? I wouldn't want to do any of this. I would want somebody else to do it for me just because I just don't, I'm like, if it just make it look good, right? So I would say like,
Yeah.
hey, Gil, can you do this for me? But some people like Matt, he may want to work on it. He may want to have his kids sitting there and he might want it to be perfect the way Matt wanted it to look. Me personally, I don't care. So I would say, hey, I know the importance of what you do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know the importance of what you do. I just don't want to do it. So, what percentage, I
Yeah.
guess, of the people that you work with are going to be people that want to DIY it themselves, or people that they want someone else to do it? Is it, you kind of said it's at a property range, you think, like a certain range? Like
Yeah.
what
So typically
percentage?
like over 20 properties, you probably want someone else to do it for you there. I would say probably for hosts that have over 20 properties, I would say probably close to half of them would want us to take care of it for them. Yeah, and usually if you're under 20 properties, majority of them would say, nope, I'm gonna save my dollars. I want to do it myself.
Yeah, and because you have a DIY method, would you be able to say, like, is your pricing maybe more competitive towards people that pay a regular, website manager to do their thing every single month? Or like, what would you say the selling point from there would be?
Yeah, so we have 2 different pricing models. We have our normal commercial one where you as a property manager, you can just sign up. It starts off at $89 for the first 2 properties and $8 for each additional property. But at some certain point, you start to scale and you don't want to pay a linear price per property. So for our larger property managers, if you're over 20 units, we have a different pricing plan that's kind of scaled and kind of tiered. So each property you add on could be $3 or $4. And as you continue to scale, it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But still, it's going to be much more effective than you hiring an agency to build it out for you once.
And for your website, it says direct booking websites. So it's not just a direct booking link for every individual property. You can do like a full blown Lazy H retreats. This is us. This is our about us. This is, how to inquire. Like you can build out the whole page. And then once you go to like properties, then you also have that. So you do full blown websites, not just the direct booking, like landing
That's
page, I guess.
that's kind of yeah, and that's kind of the benefit of using us is that we will build your homepage, your search pages, optimize that for desktop and mobile, and each individual property page as well too. So it's really around like how do you build an entire hospitality website.
So first of all, I want to say I was just laughing earlier because that's the Austin mantra is if somebody else can do it, I'm down. I don't want to do it. So that's why I was laughing for those who don't know, because Austin and I have several conversations and we'll talk about something. He'll be like, yeah, man, you can get someone else to do it. I'm like, okay, no problem.
But to be fair though, I just know what I want to do and I just stay in my lane and that's all I want to do. And the rest of the other stuff, I'm not going to be good at it anyways. So I have somebody
No,
like
I love
Gil,
it.
or I'll have somebody like Gil or someone on Gil's team that's a pro at this, and then I don't have to learn how to navigate all this, and then my time is going to be flustered trying to figure out the website. So like that's why I have a smart
I
guy like
love it.
Gil.
Yeah.
It cracks me up. So what are you seeing different kind of conversion rates when it comes to your guys' site? You have some statistics on the conversion rates. And do you have that in comparison to other companies that build direct booking sites? I don't want to say any names or anything because we probably had them on here, but I mean, like, what kind of statistics are you guys running, and what's like why would I want to use you, Mr. Gill? Explain that to me.
Yeah.
Tell me,
So,
Gil.
so you mentioned you have Hospitable. We have a bunch of folks that, how Hospitable gives you that plaque once you reach 100K, 500K with the direct booking. So a lot of those plaque holders are using our platform kind of behind the scenes to drive their direct bookings. So a lot of them will start off on the Hospitable direct booking engine, kind of the one that you kind of get out of the box that's free. And when they're starting to drive significant amount of volume on there, they're looking to really maximize their marketing impacts. We've had a bunch of hosts that moved over from us from the PMS's direct booking engine, and within 6 weeks they saw a 75% increase in conversion. That's huge. That's huge. Like, that's in the e-commerce world, like, that is unheard of. And it's mainly because you're able to tell a much more cohesive story on your website. You're able to do remarketing campaigns. You're able to do analytics to understand where people are coming from, which channel is driving the most impact, and really retargeting where your marketing energy is going towards. So you have a lot more sophistication around building your direct booking engine than just the website itself.
No, I love that you say that because I think a lot of people, like Austin says, like Matt just likes to figure shit out and know how to do it. And he's right. I do. So, like, for instance, you're talking about that, and I'm thinking in my head, like on my website, I'm watching heat maps because, I'm using Microsoft Clarity. And a lot of people, you probably don't even know what that is. But, I can see when someone drops off on my website, I can see how long they look at my website. I can see where they click on my website. I can see all these things. So, I mean, I think that a lot of people, the game's changed, right? So it's like the game now is whoever can convert the best, like especially with direct booking, who convert the best, who could drive the traffic, and who can keep the traffic there. So it's
Yep.
like if you don't use the tools that are at your beck and call to find out what's going on, then you're not going to really know what's happening or where people are falling off, right? So with that said, for instance, if I were to have a direct booking site that I had set up with you, and let's just say I see, okay, everybody's dropping off at the about us section or whatever the case, let's say the about section,
Yeah.
but the people that stay past the about section are definitely staying past the next section. I want to swap those sections and test that. Can I change the section order on your site, or is it
Yeah.
templates come in a certain order, or it's pretty much this is
Yeah.
just what it looks like? You can just put whatever wherever.
You can go in there, you can create new pages, you can resort them however you want on the menu. You can change kind of the flow there. Within the homepage, for instance, if you want to swap things around, you can. We also give you the ability to actually have multiple versions of your website. So you can actually duplicate your version and then start modifying it. So if you're running a new promo or you're changing something, you can have a pretty much a work in progress version of it, start modifying and then swapping it back out. We built that because we wanted to make sure that people can, like, work in enterprise, like, you don't want to build in production. But what we found out was that folks were using it to basically have two different versions of their site. So they'll have a summer theme version and a winter theme version for the folks that are seasonal. So their hero images look different, their tagline looks different, the way they position their properties are different. So you can do some interesting things like that. You can
Well,
also do
into the
A/B.
data too, then so you can A/B test, right? That's what you were about to
Yep.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing I think of is like A/B testing. So I'm like, okay, well, which site's going to convert better? So it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter how long they stay on. It matters how many people convert, right? So
Yep.
you could use that. I'm assuming if you're running like a Facebook ads, and you could use UTM codes for each different site, and you could see which ad they're coming from and things like that. Or
You
would
well,
that not work with your guys' program?
we have it as we have one active template going at a time. You could send them to a preview version of the website, but it doesn't look as nice because, like, the URL says has like the parameters in there. You can, but we don't have anyone using it where they're sending like their traffic to two separate preview versions of the website.
Well, you didn't sell me, Gil. No, I'm just kidding.
But
No,
like I
Go ahead.
mean, one of the things you asked me earlier is like, what makes us different than our competitors out there? The unique thing is that we're not built on WordPress. We're not built on someone else's platform. So we basically built every single piece of this direct booking platform from the ground up for direct bookings. So the templates are all built in-house. The editor is built in-house. The dashboard's all built in-house. And what that allows us to do is typically if you're working with an agency that's building out your website, you'll spend X amount of weeks to build it out. They'll send you a couple revisions, you'll send it back, and you'll go back and forth until you're happy with it. And they'll pretty much, that's it. That's your website at that point. And you can make small edits, you can go in there and make changes. For us, it's different. We built it as a platform. So we can make updates that make changes across hundreds and hundreds of hosts all at the same time. So we've done this earlier this year where we were playing around with different mobile navigations, how people navigate through the booking flow on the different templates. And we found that if we actually pin the book now button on the top of the page, it actually increased conversion. So we trialed this out with a host or property manager that had significant volume. And we found that actually making that change had a positive impact to their conversions. And so we went back and we made that change across all of our templates. So without making any changes, without hiring us, without calling upon us, we're able to upgrade everybody's site and really allow them to take advantage of what we learned. So that's like probably one of the biggest differences of working with us versus an agency, where with an agency, you're building it once. It's built custom to you. It's your own instance. But on ours, you're building around a platform that it grows over time.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm noticing with you guys that's the coolest to me is that it's like there's like a DIY feature to it. Like that's cool because while I mentioned I don't want to be, involved too much involved in that kind of stuff, there's often times when we'll put a new property on that'll look awesome and I'll email the website people and say, "Hey, can you sprinkle pictures of this property on because it's a new one, it looks awesome." And there's always like some back and forth, and then maybe it doesn't get put in the right spot, and it's actually really time consuming versus if we had someone on our team that could go in there and just utilize your DIY kind of setup. It's super awesome. Like I think that is like the big thing that I'm noticing that's like a huge differentiator from what I'm
Yeah.
seeing in your
I mean,
business.
like in your use case, if you brought on a new property that you wanted to highlight on your page, like you can go into the dashboard, star that property, it will make it a favorite property, and you can just drag and drop that to the first position. And in your search pages, it would make that the most prominent one there. So like it's very easy for you to just go in and basically build out your website the way you want to do.
So you could essentially, because it's so easy just to drag and drop, you could essentially have a VA behind the scenes moving the placements of the houses based on the fact of whether your calendar's filled or not.
Yeah.
Right. So you could be like, "Oh, well, these calendars are filled. Let's drop them to the bottom, bring these ones up, try to get these filled too." That's interesting. The other thing too, I think is a really good selling feature is the price. So if I pay somebody to get a direct booking site, I've heard upwards about $5,000 to pay someone to build a website. I do agree that it is a little time consuming to build a website in WordPress. I don't think that it's $5,000 time consuming. That's just my opinion. But I mean, I've built my own website, WordPress, a couple times. But yeah, I mean, the price is, I mean, for someone to click, because I mean, and I'll explain it. I saw it. I mean, I was at your booth at a STR Wealth conference, and my son did do it, and it did take him like 2 minutes and some change because he had to hit a log in the hospital. So it basically just, you picked the template and it took all your data and put it all there. So like you could either just put it all there, I guess, and then you can go edit it afterward, right? Or you can do whatever you want to, or you could just let it submit the data how you guys think the template should be automatically based on the template, and it's done. You're just complete in 2 minutes. So my question was, though, even though I just went on a tangent, was that, so can I use that if I were to use it as my own website? So can I use my own website with that? Or does it have to use your guys' website? Like if I have my own URL?
You can. We actually encourage you to use your own URL. So once you go through that process of building out your website and you get to a place where you're like, oh, actually, I want to make it live now. Prior to that, we'll give you a URL that you can use and share to other folks. But I would encourage you to actually bake in your own custom domain in there. So you'll provide us what that domain is, we'll send you instructions on how to register it with a video on how to do it. And if you have trouble, we can book a call and we'll actually go into your like GoDaddy account and actually put all those DNS records in there. But then within the next 12 hours, your website would be live on your URL. And you do want to do it from an SEO perspective. It makes a huge difference on whether or not you're using a subdomain off of Hospitable or even us versus having your own dedicated URL. It makes a difference.
Yeah. And I that's how I run my direct bookings off of a dedicated URL, but it just forwards to Hospitable. But I just do it so that it's visible. So that's fantastic. So what's been the hardest part about you guys starting this business? And what's been the hardest part? Your biggest challenge?
I would say marketing. I come from a product background. So I've been a product manager for 15 years. I'm really good at understanding people's needs and really figuring out how do we leverage technology to solve those problems in a very scalable manner. What I'm not great at is putting myself out there and being the most loudest person in the room and really like talking about us. And all of our growth since we've started the company has all been organic. We're leveraging a really solid product that people love to talk about and that people see a lot of impact on. So most of our customers, if not all of our customers, are from word of mouth. Folks that have heard about us from other people that hear us on the Facebook forums. It's all from word of mouth. And so like for me, the biggest challenge is that with word of mouth, it's organic. It's slower. I'm not going out and buying a bunch of ads. I'm not doing sponsorships. Every so often I'll do a webinar here and there, or I'll go on a podcast like this one. But really my energy is focused on creating the best darn product for our industry. But that's slower.
So you're an introvert kind of guy, right? It's hard for you to do these things, right? It's hard for you to be out there working a booth for 3 days. Right?
I like the intimate ones. This feels comfortable to me. Because we're talking, I'm talking to the two of you.
Yeah.
But put me in front of a stage, that's not really my place. That's not where I would say is my happy place. My happy place is really talking one-on-one with folks and understanding their problems and how I can solve it for them, or helping them in any way I can.
So I was going to ask, what happens? Let's say someone's listening to this and they have, a website provider or something like that. They have, their property manager, and they like what they're hearing, and they want to check you out. So what would it look like for for them to inquire, maybe transition to you? Can they transition? Do they have to start their whole website from scratch again, or how does that work? And this is kind of a foreign topic to me, but I'm just curious. I've already got this beautiful website built out, but I don't like the service, so I want to switch over to you guys or whatever. What does that look like?
Yeah, we actually have a bunch of customers that are switching because they're not happy with their provider. And so they'll sign up on our website. When you sign up, we ask you, do you want to book a getting started tour? And usually it's a couple days later, but it'd be time with me. And then from there, you connect your PMS, pull in all the property information, you pick out which template you want to use. And then for the folks that already have a website, they're basically rebuilding certain sections on ours. So the sections for websites are very, very common. You usually have your hero, which has a big picture on there. You'll maybe have some text and image blocks where there's an image on one side and a text on another. They're very basic, content. They're not that different. So if you have a website already, it's very easy for you to create it because you've already have all the copy, all the content and everything. So if you want to just upgrade your website, it's not hard for you to do.
He's cute. Sorry, Austin was texting me. We text back and forth during the podcast. The only time we really talk is during the podcast. We're really busy, so.
Yeah, so sorry, Gil, if I'm texting while you're talking, I'm literally just texting Matt, and we're figuring out who's going to ask the next question or something. And I have my son up here. And I send him a photo. I'm putting myself on mute every now and then because he's like a ticking time bomb. I just don't know when he's just going to screw. He's going through this phase where he's learning his vocal cords, so he's not mad or upset or anything. He just likes to rip a good scream and then laugh about it. So I'm trying to go on and off of mute, and I texted Matt a photo, and he's of him just sitting here looking at me. So sorry about that.
No worries.
That'd be good if he rips it. It'd be funny. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I have 2 young kids, so I understand it.
There you go.
So What did your wife think when you said I'm quitting my job? Did she think you're crazy, or she's used to it because you jump on a lot of startups?
She's kind of used to it. She's stopped me a few times now. She's stopped, like, there's probably in our lifetime, we've been together for 20 years now. And there's been two or three other instances where I wanted to start something. She's like, no, we just bought a house. You can't do that. Like, we have a mortgage, or we just had a kid. Like, you can't go and start this venture. But over the last few years, we've made good bets. We bought properties that cash flow very well. We've been saving, we've been frugal, and that has allowed us to just take bigger swings. If it wasn't for our short-term rentals, I wouldn't have been able to start my own business.
So you don't, it seems like you don't have a problem like betting on yourself, right? Like it doesn't seem like that's the case. If you're willing to up and do this and you're like, no, I like you have enough, you don't have a problem just with self-belief, right?
No, no. I mean, like, when your conviction's strong enough, you'll do whatever it takes to get there. And I would say the conviction when I started this company was higher than I've ever had before. Just being able to talk to my mastermind peers and having them give me feedback on whether or not the idea was solid or not, there was a lot of feedback that I should take a leap. And now that the risk is lower, where I can take bigger leaps, like, it felt like the right time. And yes, I have two kids, and we have a bunch of duties, responsibilities, bills to pay, and everything. But there's never a good time. So you just got to believe in yourself. And
So So you would say also then I guess part of that too is like your circle of influence, right? It seems like you put yourself around the right people to where they're not saying stuff like, "Oh, that's risky," or "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or "I don't know if I would do that. I'd stick to your job." But it seems like you've got around the right people that can see the product and what you've got and where your skill set is at, and be like, "Yeah, dude, you should go
yeah,
for it."
I think it's a combination of, like, me being in tech and being in Silicon Valley. Like, we're risk takers in this space. Like, I've been at companies where I was a first employee and we scaled it from there. And companies that have exited. And those are all because folks took really bold moves. But also, in the short term rental industry, we're all risk takers. We are hungry for risk and we figure out ways around it. So, like, being in the industry naturally will kind of push you towards, like, being able to bet on yourself.
Would you say that this venture was, I'm not going to say safer because it's not a good word, but let's just use it for lack of a better term. Would you say that this starting this venture was safer than some of your previous tech startups? Because at the end of the day, you're solving a good problem and people need this kind of stuff. So while it is risky, it's also like this is a great service.
It is, and it's hard to know when you start it. Like, I didn't know how big it was going to get or whether or not it was going to be successful. It actually was harder than I thought. It was a lot harder. The first year, it was hard. Like, our revenues were low. I was grinding. I was spending, gosh, maybe twice the amount of work that I was doing, even in my tech job prior. Like, it was a lot of work. But over time, people started talking about us naturally. We started seeing impacts of people driving significant amount of direct bookings on our platform, and it just reaffirms that, like, we were on the right path. And so it's constantly just reminding myself that, like, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be many years of dedication before, like, it's going to be worthwhile. Like, had I continued on my W2 path, financially I would have been in a better place at this point, because I've went from a six-figure salary to now investing more than six figures into building this business. So I'm in the negative taking this risk on, and the hope is that you keep on down this path, and at the very end of it, it's worthwhile. And like you said, it's a huge bet on yourself.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize those first beginner years. Like that's the part that's grueling is going the first 2 3 years and not paying yourself, right? Like that kind of stuff. And I think people glamorize being a business owner so much because they see all the stuff on social media that makes it look cool. And there are points where it is cool like that, but like it's brutal. And I appreciate your vulnerability of just being honest with me. Like this is not this
It's
hurts
not.
when you get started. But like you said, you keep going long enough. If you can withstand that, there's fruit at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. Like, I think more so, it's hard, especially when you have kids. Like we usually take an annual trip where I get to take the kids out and we'll go somewhere new. And for the last 2 years, I didn't have an income outside of our short-term rentals. Like I don't have an income. Luckily, my wife has a pretty stable job, but that means that you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing those trips. You're sacrificing maybe what you do on the weekends, and it's not small sacrifices. They're massive sacrifices. And like there are times in the very beginning I was like, gosh, was this worth it? Was this worth it for them at this time? And at that time I wouldn't been able to say yes or no on that. But like reflecting back now with hindsight, like we've made massive strides. We broke profitability this year. Like we've made some pretty significant gains where I'm starting to see like, oh yeah, this big swing was worth it.
Yeah. I think I agree. I agree with Austin too. I think the problem too is a lot of things on like social media. Everybody want to act like everything's easy, and it's you know what? I'll be honest, it's us too. I mean, we're over here like, oh, you scaled that fast? Come on the podcast, right? It's the same thing. It's like with anything, it's not every situation is unique, right? So it might be easier for someone to scale at one thing in a certain area or a certain place, and certain area not, whatever the case may be. So it's like, yeah, it's a grind, it's a struggle. And yeah, I appreciate you telling us, that it is a struggle and the sacrifices you make. 'Cause I think a lot of people aren't willing to make a sacrifice. They think they're making a sacrifice. Um, I also think it's pretty interesting that you're probably the first person that's come on here that said that you pretty much funded your business that you created with your short-term rentals, um, which really shows the true value of making a good investment, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like if we did not have our short-term rentals, like I wouldn't have been able to cash flow enough. Like I don't take from our investments. Our investments for our retirement. That's what at a later point, and maybe I don't need it. But like the cash flows from our short-term rentals, and then we only have 3. Like we don't have a whole bunch, but they're $700 properties that drive significant amount of revenues that has allowed us to be able to step away and try new things.
So, what's the plan for you to get crafted stays out there? Because organic's probably not going to work forever, right? At some point, I mean, it's slow. Like you said, it's a slow process. You just broke profitability. Now's the time to bring that profit up, right? So, do you guys have a plan, or
Yeah.
what have you decided you guys are going to do?
So in the very beginning, we were helping hosts that had maybe 3 to 12 properties. That was our bread and butter. And more recently, maybe in the last 8 months, larger property managers are coming to us. 30, 40, 60, 100, 130 doors that are coming to us. And the nice thing about those types of customers is they often require less work than getting 10, 20 individual customers. They are driving a significant amount of marketing dollars towards direct bookings where they're asking for certain things or demanding for a certain level of quality of service. But what that has allowed us to do is improve our product. So I think for us, as we go down kind of like the next 12 months, if not more, is to continue to go after larger property managers, and where we're not stretching ourselves so thin. We now have it in a way where if you're a property manager that has 6 stores, like you can do a lot of the things on your own. We have a lot of support materials. I still do onboarding because I still love to be in touch with our customers, but it's very self-service. Like your son did it like all by himself, and I'm just like watching over his shoulders and kind of like guiding him. But the platform is very, very straightforward to use, very easy to use. So my energy now is like trying to figure out like, how do we get larger property managers on there? How do we get hotels on there? And I think that is going to be the impetus for a lot of growth moving forward. And the benefit is that as our product matures, when we develop things, everybody benefits from it. So when we run new tests, new campaigns, new marketing strategies, more visibility tools, everybody gets to benefit from that stuff. So it's really about believing in the product.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how many? So okay, sorry, one more time. Refresh me again on what you guys charge. Like, let's just say normally, you said it was $89 for 2 properties or 3 properties.
Two properties, and then
and then $8 or a
month.
year. A month.
Yep. And then $8 for each additional property. And then Once you get over 20, we put you on a volume plan. And that volume plan, pretty much at the 20 property mark, every property starts off at $5 to $4 to $3. So it gets cheaper and cheaper as you scale up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's on the map for you guys? Any kind of partnerships or anything with, other PMSs or?
Probably not any PMSs right now. We've had a couple PMSs approach us and wanted to basically support them, but we feel like right now in the United States, like we have pretty good coverage on the top PMSs in there. We invest pretty heavily into our PMS integration, so adding on another one is quite costly on our side. So unless it's really worth it, we're not going to go ahead and do that. A lot of our upcoming partnerships are on other tools that enhance either the booking experience or conversion there. So upsells, for instance, marketing tools, building those in there so that people have more tools to increase their conversion rates. We're doing a lot of work on AI and building AI back into our platform. So we'll be releasing more stuff on that in a little bit.
Okay. That's awesome. So I want to thank you for coming on. I mean, and explaining it to everybody what, your product is and how easy it is to get a direct booking site. I don't know if you do demos, but we could talk about that later. I might need you to do a demo or two for me.
Yeah.
But not for me, but for some other people.
Sure.
But yeah, I want to thank you for your time. I want to let everybody know, like, where they can find you, how they can get involved with this, check it out, or request a demo, whatever they need to do in order to get involved with Crafted Stays.
Yeah, so go down to our website, craftedstays.co. We have a bunch of resources on there. We have a guidebook on how to get started on direct bookings. We have a blog that we write pretty often about certain tactics. So if you're learning about like, oh, how do you do email marketing? How do you do work with social influencers? We have a lot of like micro content on specifically those things. I also run a podcast of my own specifically around direct bookings called Book Solid. So every week I bring on another host that has done really well in direct bookings and just really having them share their tactics, because kind of like you folks, like there are a lot of folks that know this stuff better than us, and what better way than to really share that knowledge with folks. So those are some of the stuff that I put my energy towards, and we have our Instagram that we kind of repurpose some of the content and really make it bite-sized and consumable. But yeah, you can reach us on Instagram, but more so our website has a bunch of content.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think if you're not doing a podcast, you're missing out, because you learn a lot of stuff from having people on podcasts.
Yeah. And just the people that you meet on podcasts, like you probably know this, like Matt, like you meet some phenomenal people that you wouldn't have either the opportunity or you wouldn't have crossed paths either way with them. If you like, you and I wouldn't have had an intimate conversation like this. Have you not invited me to your show?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of people I probably would have never talked to if we haven't got them on the show. So, I mean, it's definitely a benefit. It's probably definitely a benefit for your product just by you doing a podcast with people who, getting direct bookings and things like that, because that's your product, right?
Yeah. And just learning about them, like learning about what tactics, like what do we need to bake into the product to make it easier and more accessible for more folks? Like that's our thing. Like, how do we either, like when I started the company, I wanted the barrier to entry to get into direct bookings really low. And the two things that I saw was it was really expensive for you to get started in direct booking. So I didn't want this like high upfront fee for someone to be able to like get into direct bookings. And the second was like, if you didn't build it yourself, like if you didn't pay someone, you would have to have a technical expertise to do so. So how do we make it easier for folks to get into direct bookings? And I felt like if I solved those two problems, it would just lower the barrier to entry so that folks didn't have to rely on the OTAs so prevalently like they do now.
Especially with that new Airbnb fee increase.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We're about a month and a half away from that going out.
Everybody's panicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good point of like why we're having this podcast now, is that it's a perfect time for people to start thinking about this and start taking direct bookings a little bit more seriously and realizing the power of the OTAs. And I feel like the timing's perfect for your business, man. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I learned a lot, and I'm gonna definitely take a closer look at what you guys are doing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially for the closers out there that want like on the PMS websites, you really can't talk about your services as much. So we get a lot of coasters that really want to build a page that talks about their services, but also shows out their portfolio and allows them to take direct bookings. Like, it's a good culmination of all of those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool if you can do your own website marketing your services, and then you can have other website for your direct booking. So
Yeah.
I think that's good. A lot of people are hurting when it comes to the website game, so it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, but apparently we found you guys the cheapest alternative. So
Yeah.
and the
Hopefully people
easiest
don't.
and the easiest.
Yeah. I would say like cheapest is like not what we really want to like leverage. Like that's not that's not the thing that we talk about quite often. Like, we wanted it to be approachable, but a lot of it is really around like, how do we build the best darn platform for direct bookings?
The most cost-effective way is what I meant to say, not cheapest.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
cost-effective and
There you go.
easily completed, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool, Gil. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sure Austin does. And hopefully I'm assuming you help some people here who are looking, probably sitting on the fence, trying to figure out what they're going to do a direct booking website. And it's literally like a click away, guys. It's really not that hard. So,
Yeah. And if you're not ready, just go ahead and just start educating yourself. Just start learning about what you need to put together.
Yeah, that's a good call. All right. Well, thanks. And with that, I'll let Austin take us out. Sorry, it's up on my screen. I was,
All right. Thank you all for listening. Peace.